What is good? This is your host, Mikey T, the movie star, and we are all back for another episode of the Hip Hop Panel Podcast. What's up, guys? What's up, everybody? I want to check in with y'all. Twizz, how's everything,
Definitely.
bro?
Everything great, man. I can't complain. Another day. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, Bonds. What's going on over there in ATL?
Salute, man. It's a nice day. You know what I mean? Good out here. We're here, teeing off. Want to check in.
It looks like it, man. It looks like it. And Rosewood, man, not in the studio on today's episode, back at the home office, I see. What's poppin', G's?
Yeah, everything is everything, man. Another day above water. We
Yes, sir.
blessed out here.
Well, guys, we're gonna take it back on today's episode. We're taking it back to earlier days in hip hop, man. We're going all the way back to 2008. We're going back to when Cassidy appeared on the Cocaine City DVD, and he actually appeared alongside AR Rab and French Montana. I had spoke with AR Rab about the video he did on Cocaine City with French Montana, then known as Frenchie, and Cassidy, and it was called The City of Dreams. And AR Rab had quite a bit to say about that, but Rosewood, just going back into it for memory's sake, what do you remember about The City of Dreams with Ab, Frenchie, and Cassidy?
Well, the first thing I want to say is shout out to Cocaine City, because that's a real prominent DVD series around that time. Because '07, like '08, that was a specific time because you ended in you coming out of the phase of the G Unit, State Property, Locks, like Dipset, Just Them, and then you're coming in a newer artist, which French Montana was Frenchie at the time. He was doing the camera work before he became the rapper, so now he's venturing in. We didn't really know that, but he ventured in, but he had his eye always on the underground artists. So for him to, come in the city and, pop in with AR, that was something expected because everybody was up and coming at that time in '07. So, shout out Cocaine City, that DVD, man. Shout out French Montana for even, getting out there into the streets, because that was a way we saw into other people's neighborhoods and got to hear other rappers that was coming up.
Yeah, and Twizz, as Rosewood was saying, Cocaine City became a prominent DVD, a fixture in hip hop really for, emerging talent and different talent, that was known as being legendary. We saw 50 and
Thanks.
you know what I mean, and other artists as well on Cocaine City. But some of the other DVD platforms that Cassidy appeared on was Too Raw for the Streets, Smack DVD, all the way back, man, from
Mm-hmm.
2003 when he dropped his first album to 2005 when he dropped his sophomore album. You know what I'm saying,
Thanks.
Twiz? Like, how big is this history to you watching Cassidy on all these platforms?
It's definitely a major part of history, man. Definitely a major part. Um,
Yeah.
we was able to pretty much grow through them stages and, watch Cass, grow. And I remember, not even just to speak on Ab, like the whole Larceny family, Shez, Akbar, and them. Yeah, I mean, they was like a heavy team, and also their mixtapes was lit. So it was always great to back then. You didn't get the internet ever wasn't what it is today. So it was good to be able to have these visuals where you can see, oh damn, that shit's Akbar, that's Ab. You know what I mean? If you never got a chance to see him before, so it
Facts.
was very very dope. You know what I mean? And he was doing all the right things, man. He was trying.
Yep. And from there, we saw Cassidy bring Ab around to the freestyle markets. You know what I mean? Bring him on the
Mhm.
different radio stations to showcase his freestyling ability. But Bonds, this was something different. You know what I mean? City of Dreams was something different. It was actually French Montana, AR Rab, and Cassidy on a record together. You know what I mean? So compile all of that together between all the radio stations, all the DVD appearances, and now a major music video. And you pretty much got a bubbling rap career right there. What perspective would you say as an artist, Bonds?
Yeah, definitely. Um, and And that's crazy because it just made me think about, you know, during the whole time of Cassidy's career, he's never been, you know what I'm saying, like over industry. You know what I mean? He's always been a part of the DVDs and whatever was going on the streets. You know what I'm saying? And he was, you know, he had different looks, so he didn't necessarily have to, you know what I mean, double back for those looks on those platforms. But he did definitely always remain, you know what I'm saying, to the streets and tapped in with the underground rap market and you know what I mean and such. So that's one aspect of it. But you know, just I guess in its entirety, those three, um, everybody kept moving. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing what it take. Everybody kept moving, kept grinding. Of course, Cassidy, you know what I'm saying, was the biggest at that time. Well, you know, French did have a platform, but Cassidy was the biggest artist. And for him to throw that, you know, Ab in there in that mix, you know, show his commitment to Ab's career. And like I said, everybody kept working. So natural progression, bro.
Yeah, you know, back in the day when I saw that record emerge, I was like, okay, French Montana's linking up with Cassidy. You know, French Montana was always moving with his career. You know, he was moving from one thing to the next, whether it was a new mixtape or a new DVD or working with a new DJ or working with a new artist. We always saw him moving. But then when I saw AR Rab attached to the project, I was like, damn, I was like, okay, so this is something new. I had not really seen AR Rab prior to that. So I want to say this was my first opportunity to see AR Rab presented back in 2008, right around that time. So I asked Ab, how did the record come about with you, French Montana, and Cassidy? And he explained it to me, you guys. And for all of our viewers watching the Hip Hop Panel podcast, this might be your first time hearing how this track actually came together. And hell, it's probably some of my co-hosts' first time hearing how this track actually came together. We're all going to respond to it, but this is what Ab had to say to me about the City of Dreams. He said, French asked me to give him a verse on it. I was all the way in Philly, and he was in the studio out New York. DJ Thorough called me and told me that French wanted me on the track. This was back in 2007 when I had just come home from the murder charge. I was building a buzz fucking with Cass, and I guess French heard about me and wanted me to do the song. The song was supposed to be me and his song, but Cass came up with the hook and put a verse on it. Then we shot the video in the studio that day. French and Cassidy actually started hanging around each other a lot back then. I used to be around and see French all the time. We were cool. I can honestly say he was getting money before rap. So let's just go around the board and actually respond to that before we go any further and dissect it, you know, piece by piece. Rosewood, hearing how that record, The City of Dreams, came together for the first time, where I actually, you know, that's one of the first times, if not the very first time that I saw Ab in an actual video. What's your reaction to that, man?
Yeah, shout out to DJ Thorough for one, who
Yep.
definitely a prominent DJ. You know, definitely don't get his flowers because around that early 2000s and mid 2000s, he was really active in putting artists together with other artists that people were liking in the streets, but wasn't getting the mainstream spotlight. So for French to, you know, transition over to the industry or the rapping, I think he went with the people he were fans of. And Cassidy was one of those guys. And I think that back then, a lot of people were fans of, even if you weren't fans of the industry stuff, you were fans of the mixtape stuff. So it was definitely somebody that you want on, you know, stuff that you're getting on. And for him to see AR ad, you know, that means he was already scouting talent. You know, so shout out to French for even giving brothers the spotlight, you know, at the time on his platform. Because Cassidy was known, but French Montana platform had the buzz. So it was a great relationship and it worked out, you know, good, you know, because like you said, I think that was the first time I actually seen Ab on a video. I heard raps, but as far as the video, and like Swizz said, that was an opportunity for us to get to see the faces of the artists that's rapping. We didn't have that before.
Yeah, and also I do want to say Thorough seemed to get his flowers years later. 50 Cent put him on as a host for This Is 50. So I do want to throw that out there. Now Bonds, hearing how this track came together with AR Rab saying that it was originally supposed to be him and French on the record, but Cassidy came up to the studio with them and ended up putting the hook on it, which, obviously Cassidy was prominently featured on that hook. He was the one spitting it. So what do you think hearing that back now? It played out a little bit differently.
Yeah, it played out a lot differently than I thought. Yeah, that's crazy. So I got to give that to French for having that vision, and you know what I'm saying, and liking AR Ab and reaching out, being real too, because some dudes are like you and still don't want to boost you up, put you on the platform. They're like, yo, these dudes is all right. You know what I'm saying? And be phony about it. So French was the opposite. He was like, yo, the dude is all right. Reach out to get him on the song. Maybe just the artist. I'll give Cass the benefit of the doubt, just the artist in him. You know what I'm saying? That he liked the song. It was dope. Yo, you know what I mean? Cass wanna spit bars at all times. So it was just like, yeah, you know what I mean? So I guess that was first for French. He got more than he bargained for.
Now, yeah, you're right, man. It was definitely a good opportunity that French Montana made out of it by working with an artist that would, go on to be one of the most prominent, you know what I mean? A lot of people got features from AR Rab in the future from that. I'm going to bring it over to Twizz now just to get his overall reaction as to how the record came about, man. What's your thoughts on that, Twizz?
Yeah, it's amazing because we would have all thought that it was French and Cass that was, setting that up. Like French hit Cass up, like, Cass, I need you to get on this, John. And Cass was like, I'm gonna bring my man Ab in too. But for him to do it in the manner that he did it, that just shows you that French was not only pursuing his career and building a brand through his DVD, but he also kept his ear to the streets. Because back then, like Honorable Earth said, man, I had came home and what was that, like around the end of 07 also. And I remember my young boy, he had a one of them MP3 player Johns. And they had all this music already uploaded on it. And he had Allegheny Ab on that joint, that mixtape. I'm like, damn, who this? Like this boy talk different. So it's like, what I mean? That shows you that his ear was to the streets, because at that time, Ab was doing like DVD appearances and he would be with Cass a lot. So that shows you that he saw the potential in AR. You know what I mean? So a big shout out to the French, and with Cass hopping on it, it was just like, I'm gonna put the icing on the cake, bro. You know what I mean? So, it was definitely a good joint.
Twizz, I want you to take me back to when AR Rab got out of jail. He came home from that murder charge. What was the buzz like then?
Around that time out Philly, people knew who Ab was, but he wasn't as big as he was when, the Ab that most people know. So, the people through that, it was like I don't want to get into details, but through the streets was talking about the story of what happened with them getting locked up. So a lot of people knew about AR as far as, pertaining to that case and everything. So when he had came home, it's like he was doing like the Jones with like Meek and everything. This was all like around that time. You know what I mean? So it wasn't as much excitement to it back then, because like I said, his name wasn't as big as it became later on, even though he was already active. But
Right.
you know what I mean? That's pretty much all I really got to say. It wasn't like everybody was like, yo, AR home, AR home. You know
Right.
what I mean? So
Like
people
the
were still
second
learning.
time. Like when he had come home
Exactly.
the second time. Because prior to getting locked up, he had all the buzz of potentially signing to OVO. When he had originally got
Thanks.
locked up with Cassidy, he wasn't really as known. You know, I was even going through some MTV reports, and ARAB was not mentioned by name. You know what I mean?
Facts.
He was just mentioned as one of the two other culprits involved. So at this point, you know, Ab comes home. He announced that he had beat the charges. It was in 2007 or 2008. And as he had told us, he linked up with French in 07, announces he beat the murder charge. French gives ARAB the alley-oop, putting him in a featured song within the Cocaine City DVD. And now Swizz Beatz is even referring to ARAB as the most important new artist. Bonds, what did you think, man? You could look at it as well as like French Montana, who's making his next real play in the game, but he's also showing ARAB love.
Definitely, that's what I'm saying. So it's a little bit of both. It's like you know, him seeing a vision, but as a businessman, that's how you gotta move. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be, you know what I'm saying, on top of the hottest things and tapped in with, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta pick and choose, have your ear, like, you know what I mean? So he was able to, and if you paying attention, like, because with that situation, kind of, that's where I guess I really started, Ab started catching my attention after that case with the Cassidy and all that. Because it was, you know, the little underlines was like, oh, you know, dudes knew it wasn't Cass' situation, but he got caught up in the situation. So, you know what I mean? That's what kind of started, you know, people looking at the other dudes like, nah, but some, I mean, so who is these other dudes? And that was like the, you know, a big blank that they, you know, he filled in, I believe. Like, you know what I'm saying? For me, from a casual outside person that didn't know about Ab, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, outside of Philly then. But I do vaguely remember seeing him on things with Cass, but what really caught my attention to him, like I'm saying, was when they caught that case, fortunately. But, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, that was the one point where you had you could start to put a character together to who this guy was that was rolling around with Cassidy to all these freestyle sessions. You know, because
Exactly.
prior to the music video, I believe there was various there was some songs out there. What was one called? Put Your L's in the Sky or something like that. You know, something along those lines. It was called. I can't really remember. Ab had a bit of a different flow back then, but Rosewood, man, Swizz Beatz making the statement, Ab is the most important new artist, man. Can you remember when everything started to buzz about Ab starting to potentially work with Beats, Swizz Beatz?
Once, you know, he was Larceny Family, you know, and it was, I forgot who did the DVD where he's sitting on the steps, you know, with the full surface chain on, you know, he's talking about
That,
him moving around with Cassidy. And that was really
yeah,
the first introduction of him stepping into the forte of music, I want to say, and being an artist. You know, they were playing his music in the background. Hey, I'm mad I don't know the name of that DVD or
I,
who shot that, you know, who shot that, you know. But that was like the first forte in him doing that. And I think on there he talked about, you know, talking to Swizz Beatz and Swizz Beatz really messing with him on the music tip, you know, and him really going hard at it at the time, really going at it 100%. So that was like the first time, you know, I've really seen AR Ab stepping into the spotlight of as music, you know, and that was all around the same time. That was all around the same time. They're really making that push.
Yeah, so I want to move aside from Arab, you know, making his name on this market, you know, because he had the chance to build and then getting a spotlight on Cocaine City. You know, I think that was a major look for him that went on to, you know, it went on to really affect his mixtape releases, like for instance, you know, from his first tape in 2008 to 2009 to the anticipation on to the guy would release a mixtape every year, is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. Allegheny Ave in 2010, Who Harder Than Me in 2011. The sequel followed in 2012. 2013 was Mud Music. I wanted to take it into French Montana's relationship with Cassidy Because, that's what we would have all thought at the beginning of this, like you were saying, Bonds. We would have thought that French was building with Cassidy. But Ab went on to say that after this record was done, that they did take on a relationship. So, Bonds, looking at it from the artist perspective, what did you make of French Montana taking on a relationship with Cassidy? As Ab said, they started, being around each other a lot back then.
Yeah, probably figured out a way to get some money together. I'm pretty sure. You know what I'm saying? French is a hustler, he's a grinder, you know what I mean? So he probably was, probably was a beneficial situation, hopefully. You know what I mean? So can imagine what they were doing, industry things, as far as industry wise or whatever, maybe promotion, whatever, like, you know what I mean? Just figured out how to get a bag together, because Cass had some industry ties more. And French at that point was still, not as, he wasn't with Diddy and all of that. So,
Rosewood, I also wanted to ask you, after seeing Cassidy elevate from the battle market and go to TV, what did you make of him, jumping back into the DVD circuit with Cocaine City?
Well, the first thing, we were like, Cass was still working. Cass was always working. So we were looking at it like he was just being ahead of the curve. Like Bonds was saying, like French Montana was, seeing the underground talent. Cassie always kept his eyes on the streets too. So that's why Cocaine City, the DVD was so prominent, because if you was in the industry, you could see what's going on the streets. If you was in the streets, you could see what's going on in the industry. It was like a correlation of the two with the DVD when you got it. So you can see that. So Cass already knew. He said, I'm going to take advantage of it now, hop on this situation while it's hot. Like I said, Cassie was more industry, but Cocaine City had the buzz. So like Brian said, it was a relationship beneficial to each other.
And Twiz, I wanted to ask you to speak on, Cassidy's involvement with the DVD market. As I said, from his debut album, Split Personality, he was still doing stuff with Too Raw to the Streets. He was working with Smack through 2005, the I'm a Hustler album, arguably his highest point in his career. What did you think about his consistent involvement in the DVD market? And as Rosewood just spoke on, he even worked with a new emerging DVD that was one of the top, Cocaine City.
It didn't shock me if we think of the day and time of when this was going on. Every rapper that was from any hood, that was the wave. You know what I mean? That's what everybody did. You had people like Beans, Kiss, Styles, all of these guys. They was, you would see them on a video, then you would see them in a DVD, whether they in a hood, they rapping. And that's just to show love. They showing love to the streets, and they also helping the DVD. You know what I mean? A DVD back then, that's where the buzz come from. Who you got on there? You think about like the Smack DVDs before, it was like big stage battles. It was always like video style freestyles on the Johns, like, you know what I mean? So that was just a part of being an artist back then in that day and time. Like, people go crazy, they see Cass as something in traffic. Like, he could really pull up on any block and things like that. So, it was just more promoting yourself, but also helping out the next person.
So you guys, recently French Montana had Cassidy on his IG Live. They were doing a reincarnation of Cocaine City on Instagram, Cocaine City Live. And French actually had some very dope things to say about Cassidy. He actually said, Cassidy was one of the first people to ever look out and jump on a song and get on Cocaine City with me. He also said, I love your passion. I follow. So I see you always have a new 16 and you love the game. French had some dope shit to say about Cassidy, man. They also spoke on potentially doing a record, y'all. So I want to go around the board and I want to talk about this. Obviously, we'll bring it to the Philly guys first. Rosewood, how important would it be right now for Cassidy, who dropped 3 albums in 2020, 2021? He dropped The Science, You know what I'm saying? He dropped 3 new albums. How important would it be for him to get that French Montana feature right now?
Well, I think it's definitely important because what you can do with the French Montana feature, it can possibly be like a #1 hit. Dealing with French Montana because really that's his lane now. You know, giving you a hit record or a hit single. And for Cassie, I think that would be a major boost because with him, going into the battle arena and still doing industry stuff, it shows you, him battling the best of both worlds. Really bringing it together and bringing out a good project. So I think it's very important, him working with French Montana right now because you could possibly get, a #1 hit.
Yeah, man. So I took a look at French Montana's new album, guys. It's called They Got Amnesia. So I wanted to take a look at it to see what type of spitters were on the album, to see how that flow would sort of mesh with what French is doing, right about now. Looking at it, Bonds, do you think Cassidy and French Montana could work something out at the current time?
I do. I think they could make a hit, but I do think this though. I think it has to be the right song. I don't think anything they do is gonna be a hit. I think, you know what I mean, if you get that good French, you know what I mean, give you one of them classic hooks that's spicy and the beat is right, he's saying something provocative or something, Cass come through with some bars that could fly. But it gotta be the right record.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Looking at this track listing here, we're going to get into it, Twiz, because I want to know what you got to say, bro. Looking at this track listing, I mean, I could see Cassidy on Fuck With Me, Get a Bag. You know what I mean? The way that he showcased himself on some of the records from his latest albums. But let's take a look at this track listing here. So Twiz, we got Cassidy, we got French Montana on Splash Brothers with Drake. We've got Touch the Sky with John Legend and Rick Ross. We've got Mop Stick featuring Kodak Black. Stuck in the Jungle featuring Little Durk and Pop Smoke. Panickin' with Fabio Foreign. Handstand with Doja Cat and Saweetie. Didn't Get Far with Fabulous, Fabo. Push Start with Coi Leray. Strip Tease with Ty Dolla $ign and FT Lotto. I'm not familiar with FT Lotto. Excuse me if I'm butchering that name. Bag Season with Little TJ. And the Fuck With Me, Get a Bag remix with Moneybagg Yo. So Twiz, man, hearing this track listing for French Montana's most recent album, They Got Amnesia, what do you think? Are there any spitters on there alike from Cassidy? I guess you could say Fabulous, right?
Yeah, definitely Fab. Fab is definitely a spitter. It ain't, that's no question. But
Facts.
it's like nowadays the spitters ain't getting the promotion. You know what I mean? It's like they don't care how good you can rap. How catchy is the song? How good is the song? You know what I mean? So, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But it's a tough battle. Anything that you got people like Drake on, Drake gonna be on there. So it's like that's like the most challenging song for anybody featuring on that album to try to get over on.
Right. And then for major singles, you got, like how I had mentioned, Get a Bag. You got Moneybagg Yo on Get a Bag. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You got
Yeah.
records with Coi Leray, who's, one of the hottest things of the moment. You got Ty Dolla
Hmm.
$ign and Little TJ. You know what I mean? Like, how do you fit into records like this? But I want to say the most important thing to note is that the relationship between them is still there.
Hmm.
French Montana said that he had to have Cassidy on for the first episode of the Cocaine City Live. I think that's an important aspect, the fact that Cassidy could pick up his phone and French Montana answers it. So French Montana giving Cassidy some light at this point of his career, I think it would be dope because Cassidy showed him that light. And French, even though French was only at a certain degree of his career at that point, he showed A.R. Rab light to the world, you know, the underground world of music. And I appreciate everybody tuning in for the panel tonight. This is episode 3. I really thank my co-host, Bond Simmons, SV Twizzy, the Hood Blogger, the Chronic Conversationalist himself, my brother Rosewood, but you know who I am. I'm the host, Mikey T, the movie star. Everybody watching this, I want you guys to follow me on the gram, Mikey T _ the movie star. It'll be in the description. Everybody that follows me based on this video, based on this episode of the Hip Hop Panel Podcast, I will follow y'all back. So just drop a comment. You know, put your IG in the comments. I will follow every single one of y'all that like and comment on this video as well. I'm going to pass it over to Rosewood so he can give y'all his plug so y'all can stay in tune. He does have a studio in Philly. Am I correct, Rosewood? Let him know yourself.
Yes, definitely, man. It's Spill Entertainment. You know what it is, man. Management, artist development, and promotion. And yes, the studio is always popping. Spill Studios at 1122. You know, a lot of artists always coming in there, man. Shout out Enes. Shout out Pete Crack. Shout out Ape the Chemist, man. Shout out Killer Kells on tour right now. You know, there's a lot of talent coming through there. Members only Mondays. Shout out Missy. You know, it's a lot of things going on, man. Radio station. Shout out Swag 100. You know, podcast. Shout out, you know, Chronic Conversation. Definitely shout out Report Card Radio. But everybody hit me up on the gram, you know, Spill_ENT, man. Or go on spillentertainment.com. Check out everything we got going on. Free my brother Razor, you know, still putting music out there. You know, we was definitely working before he went in. So about to start dropping a lot of music from my guy, man. So stay tuned for that, man. It's Spill ENT. Rosewood. Salute.
That's right, Rosewood. He is the voice, y'all. Everybody plug in with Rosewood. His link for his IG will be in the description as well. So if anybody needs studio time, artist management as well, you know, he run around, do the Spill Entertainment record label. So he's really got a good head on his shoulders. I'm going to bring it over to the local legend, my brother, Bond Simmons. We actually just released the long format of our interview this week. Dope piece where he actually spoke on how Murder Inc. pulled up to his hood, 109, a G-Unit block. But yeah, y'all are going to click the link in the bio if you want to hear Bonds talk about that. But Bonds, let them know how they can get in contact with you and get that new album of yours, Local Legend, that features Kid Kid, Dark Low, and a bunch of others.
Yeah, man. Shout there. Got the OG Bigger Rankin on there. Shout to Zagu Up, Ray Vic, Wise G. Like, yeah, listen, man, it's there. Bond Simmons. I mean, BONDS SIMMONS. That's you know, just search anything, Instagram, YouTube, everything's up, videos, albums. We lit, TNR where y'all know what it is. Official Report Card Radio Hip Hop panelist. So you're gonna see me here. I mean, shout out to the gang, the crew, my bros. You know what I'm saying? We're on this mission together.
Already.
How you watching, man?
You guys know I got to wait till we close the show to smoke. You know, we got serious things to talk about here on the panel. You know what I mean? We got to discuss hip-hop topics. I know the guys smoke, you know what I mean? But, like, you know how it was, you know, 50 wouldn't be smoking. But Yayo, Banks,
Right.
and Buck, them guys would be smoking. You know what I mean? Diddy wouldn't be smoking, but the whole band, they would have a whole other two of us just smoking. I remember Fred said it on the show and Chopper. They were like, Diddy don't want to ride with us. He don't smoke. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, on that note, let me bring it over to the guy, the hood blogger, as they call him. He has a YouTube channel called Life with the Philly Fam. Y'all can check out a bunch of dope interviews on there. I mean, he has an interview with Petey Crack on there. He's got a new interview with Cuba Gooding Jr.'s brother.
Oh, yes, sir.
Brother?
Yeah, his brother, Omar Gooding.
Omar Gooding. Y'all know Cuba Gooding Jr. from some of the dopest movies. I remember that scene in Pearl Harbor. Remember that scene in Pearl Harbor, Rosewood, where he had them two big, he was off the side of the boat and he was like, I'm gonna get you, motherfucker! Yeah, I know
I
my
thought
Cuba
you
Gooding Jr. history, but y'all need to tap in with SV Twizzy on his new interview with Omar Gooden. But let them know how they can get in contact with you personally, because Twiz is actually a movie director as well.
This SB Twizzy, man, the hood blogger. You know what I'm saying? On the panel with the bros, man. Shout out to Mikey T, the movie star, Von Simmons, Honorable in the building. Y'all know how we carry it, man. You know, y'all can check me out on YouTube, like Mikey said, Life with the Philly Fan. You know what I mean? Definitely just dropped an interview with Omar Gooden. If those of y'all don't know, you know, he was off of Baby Boy. We seen him on Hanging with Mr. Cooper. You know, a lot of other appearances. You know what I mean? But other than that, if y'all interested in being a part of a movie or networking period, just DM me, man. IG underscore Twiz 215, man. But y'all know how we carried on the panel. It's only one way from here, that's up. Report Card Radio, La Familia, checking out.
Yeah, guys. And also, I want to let everybody know watching, drop some comments on YouTube here or hit us directly on Instagram. Let us know topics you would like us to discuss on the hip hop panel. You know, a lot of people have been saying we want to hear about Casanova. We're going to feed your appetite. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure y'all get to hear about what you want to hear about. That's why we're here in the first place. So I appreciate everybody tuning in to the Hip Hop Panel podcast. For Rosewood, Von Simmons, and SV Twizzy, I'm Mikey T, the movie star, and we will see you on the next episode.
Nope.